welcome to Gotta Have It. We have another great Gotta Have It recipe for you today, friends. We are making fresh homemade lasagna, and we're going to make the noodles ourselves, and we have a fresh tomato sauce that we're going to make for you as well. So here you go. This is what you need today for your great fresh pasta lasagna recipe. You need 4 cups of all-purpose flour, you need 5 whole eggs, and you need a pinch of salt. Now, as you can see, I have it laid out right here on the granite countertop, and I'll tell you why we're using granite. If you have a nice wood countertop or another type of countertop, you could use that as well, but the granite is going to keep the dough cool, and it's going to help roll it out without sticking. And we're still going to use a little bit of flour for the rolling out the dough on the counter. Also, a pasta machine. It would make things easier, friends, if you have a pasta machine at home like this. If you don't have a pasta machine, I hope you have a good rolling pin and you can just roll that dough right out on the counter, and it will take you a little bit more effort, but it will still come out really great. So we're going to get started. I have 4 cups of flour out on the countertop, and I'm going to measure out just a half teaspoon of salt right on the flour, and I'm just going to mix it in with a fork just to get it blended in just a little bit. It's all going to be incorporated, but I just want to blend that right in with the flour, and then I'm going to make like a little trough in the middle, almost like a shallow volcano, I think of it as, and we're going to start cracking the eggs right in the middle. So here's the first one. And try not to get the shell in with that. Once you get the eggs in the center of the flour, you're going to start just incorporating the eggs right in to the flour. A little by little, you're going to work the eggs into the dough from the outside. And it doesn't seem very easy, but this is exactly how it needs to be done. And once you get the dough mixed, you're going to knead it for 15 minutes and then let the dough rest for 1 hour. If the dough happens to be a little dry, you can always add a little bit of water. Just gently pour a little bit in and incorporate that right into the dough. You have to still get all the 4 cups of flour right mixed into the dough. So just keep putting a little bit of water, or you could even add a little bit of olive oil if you'd like. It really helps to have your mother help you when you're making this.
You're going to add that.
Now that you've kneaded the dough for 15 minutes, you're going to place it into aluminum foil and make sure it's fully covered. We don't want any air to get to it. And we're going to just let it rest on the counter for 1 hour. And then we'll come back to it and start rolling it out. In the meantime, we're going to make our tomato sauce to use for the lasagna. To make your own sauce, this is what you're going to need today. You're going to need a can of ground peeled tomatoes, or you could use crushed tomatoes found in your local supermarket. You're also going to use a little bit of crushed red pepper, some whole oregano, and also some basil leaves. And for this recipe, you're definitely going to want to use the dried leaves of that. We're going to open our dough that has sat for 1 hour, and we're going to be putting that out on our flat surface. Here we go. And that has rested gently for 1 hour. Also, I'm going to spread some flour right on the surface here and just put a little bit out. It's going to be easier to work your dough if you separate it into 3 parts. So here we go. I'm going to just maybe cut it in thirds. And then put 2 helpings aside, and I'm going to work with this piece of dough. Make sure there's plenty of flour on the granite or whatever surface you're working. We also will flour the dough a little bit like that. And we're going to get the rolling pin of your choice, whatever is easier for you to work with. I might try a variety of them tonight and see which one works the best. And then we'll get it, once it gets thin enough, we'll get it right to the machine. We need to make sure we also, besides flouring the surface, we're flouring the rolling pin as well. So here we go. We're going to just start by kneading that out with the roller. And where is my stunt double for this? This will build muscles and character. So I have the pasta rolled out, if you can see, to about maybe 1/4 or almost 2/4 thickness. And I'm going to just trim it down a little bit so the width fits through the pasta roller. So I'm just going to eyeball it here. We're going to use all the dough. None of this dough is going to be wasted, but I'm just going to take off these side parts, and we're going to save that for later. And we're going to just put those to the side, and then we're going to start feeding it through the machine. Now, if you're using a machine, it's going to be on 1 on the dial, which is the first setting. If you're actually going to roll it out, just keep rolling it out, rolling it out. You want it very thin, maybe a dime size in width. So that's about the width. And we're going to start feeding it through the machine. Once you get it through once on notch 1, you're going to see that it's longer now, and you're going to feed it through again. Now we've changed it to notch 2 on the side, and we're just going to start feeding it through one more time. And it's getting thinner each time. And it's on notch 3 now. Here we go. It's getting thinner, and it's a good workout. You don't have to go to the gym the day you do this. Here we go. It's looking good. I would still make it thinner. I don't think notch 3 is thin enough. I would at least go to notch 4 and then see how thin that is, because the pasta does expand when it's cooked, and you don't want to just be eating all pasta noodles. You want to savor the sauce and cheese mixture with each bite. And there we go. Now that has tripled in size, and let's bring it down one more notch to notch 4. Let's see how that goes. And if we want, we can even do this. We can even cut it in half at this point and just do each half separately, just so we just can handle it more easily. And that's very good. Notch 4 is probably perfect. It's not see-through. It's still going to hold the sauce and hold the cheese mixture really well. And voila, we have our first completed pasta noodle. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Now we have plenty more to go. We're gonna finish the rest of the dough like this. So we've only done almost a third of the dough now. So we have a little more to do, and then we're gonna make the cheese mixture. We'll be right back to do that. And now we're going to do the filling for the lasagna. And you're going to need one 32 ounce, it's a 2 pound container of ricotta cheese, your favorite brand. Some fresh mozzarella cheese that you're going to grate up. A block of Parmigiano, you're going to use as much to taste as you want, maybe a half a cup for this recipe. 2 eggs, and we're going to use, chop up some fresh parsley and some salt and pepper to taste. So we're going to work on those, get your ingredients together, and we're going to start grating and mixing them in this beautiful bowl. We're ready to add the cheese in, but I just want to make sure you save a little bit of the mozzarella for the top of the lasagna. So when we bake it, there's a nice crust of cheese on top. But right now we're going to add a little bit of the mozzarella, fresh mozzarella, and the grated Parmigiano right to our ricotta and eggs, and also our parsley. And then we're going to add a few pinches of salt to that. And remember, the cheese is salty as well, so don't over salt it. You can always salt it later. And definitely add some fresh ground pepper. Well, it's time to put the lasagna together. We have the sauce made, the dough made, and the ricotta filling made. Before I actually put the first layer of pasta down, I want to put a little bit of our homemade sauce in just to wet the bottom of the pan we're using to make sure nothing sticks and that every bite has some nice flavor to it. And we'll layer our pasta in. And for this one, because it's not as big, there's not as much room left, you can again just take that sheet, kind of measure it out. And what we'll do for that one is we'll just cut it in half. Now, this is an estimation. You don't need to be perfect on this. It's going to be layered. Now we're going to put some cheese on top and another layer of sauce and another layer of pasta. So let's continue to do those layers. And I'll show you how to top it off before we put it in the oven. Isn't that beautiful? What a lasagna we're looking forward to eating. So in order to cook this, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees and you're going to cook it for 20 minutes. And then when it comes out, the cheese on top will be melted, it will be all cooked nice in, and the fresh pasta should be cooked through. Bon appetit though. Join us here for more Gotta Have It recipes.